tell you about the Indian Mountain Race. We had Fordzilla there, and it was an extremely rocky course. It was it was raining, and it just beat the crap out of the machine. So what we did to compensate for that is I did a bunch of damage to the drive shafts on the machine on the first run. Ended up noticing it and tighten everything that was loose as much as possible to get it to last. And it did last. It made it. It was terrible. It sounded terrible. It basically ruined all the drive shafts front and back on the machine, but it made it through the race, and I ended up with a 4th place, so that was good. We're driving right now to Wildcat, Kentucky. We got me, Joey, Willie, and Oakley in the back. But anyway, we're about Indian Mountain Race number 9. It was just really, really hard on the machine. It was very, very frustrating. You know, it's always frustrating when you're a competitor and you don't do as good as you want. I got a 4th place, so that was great. My goal is always to be in the top 5. So it did turn out better than I thought. I didn't know that I would do that good driving as slow as I did. So that was good. Some big news that we got here just recently is we had 2 sponsors come on. I'm very excited about. One is Nick Barna with Ball Joint Eliminators. That's a really big deal, and something really neat about that is, you know, I've had quite a few sponsors that have helped me, but it's rare that when you really need something, that a sponsor is there to help. You know, that's just luck, basically. So in Ball Joint Eliminators, or Nick Barna's case, what we had is we had done all this damage to the drivetrain, and I'd been facing these drivetrain issues for, I don't know, half the season, right?
Yeah.
And what's happening is I run a low pinion, which means my drive shaft goes into my pumpkin or the differential in the back on the low side, so it's lower than the axle, the line that the axle is across. It goes into it, and that means that it's one of the lowest points of the machine, so it hits off rocks, it hits off everything. Well, we already built almost as heavy a steel as you can use to build it all, but what's happening is it's still taking those big hits, and instead of breaking, now it's bending. Well, the last time we broke one, we cut it apart and re-straightened it, and we found out that there's a cone that's machined on a CNC lathe, and it's machined to fit onto the yoke, and it connects the yoke to the shaft, the smooth long part of the drive shaft. Well, that yoke, that little cone is made out of very thin steel, and that's what both pieces are welded at on each side. And now these cones, these are kind of like the industry standard. Nobody, as far as I know, nobody builds their own or does anything other than these cones. Everybody is doing it the same way. I shouldn't say it. I don't know. I just know that all my crowd and the people that I'm with, they're all been doing it the same way. And then when I talk to the manufacturer of it, they've been making those cones the same way for over 15 years. So, we identified the problem when we took it apart. That cone, the thinness of the wall, is actually what is bending. It's the weakest link. So something cool is we were telling Nick Barna, or I was talking to Jeremiah about it. Jeremiah says, call Nick. Nick could knock these out, no problem. And gave Nick a call, and he's like, yeah, I'll machine all of those for you. So very extremely thankful for him to do that, and I'm very excited to help promote his business and try and help him tenfold of what he's done for me. So he made a pile of them. He made so many of them that we built 3 full drive lines, complete full drive lines, front to back for the machine. So we never have to worry ever about losing a drivetrain and running with a bent shaft ever again. So thank you very much, Nick Barna and ball joint eliminators. It's a huge step in a positive direction for our race team. Then the next one that came on board is Velocita. And Velocita is who we have our race suits, our helmets, our race shoes, our race gloves, all our fire gear, all our fire protective gear that when you get on this level and want that high-end stuff, and oh my gosh, it's expensive. So we worked with them and initially just went through them because Dan Bowman recommended them. He said they're great company. They got a pretty awesome system for putting your sponsors and getting everybody and your sizes correct for your suit, and that's a big deal. A lot of these suits, to have a custom one-off suit that's fit and measured and fit for you, it turns to be a big deal. They make you make all the measurements. There's nobody to talk to, and if it's wrong, well, there ain't no sending it back. It's a one-shot deal. Well, anyway, with Velocita, it's not like that. So, the cool thing is they reached out to me, said I got enough of a name and I got enough exposure that they would be more than happy to work with me, and they said especially because I'm a previous customer and I do like their product.
Turn right on US 10.
So I'm really excited about that. That really helps me. That's a big step in the right direction, because how having this race team and this and racing this buggy works is this is legitimately turning into a business. And how this business works is you build exposure and a brand and a name, and as you build this brand and exposure and you do well and you're fast, people look to you for what parts to buy and what solves the issue the best. Why? Because you have more time doing it and research of the parts and failure points than the normal human being. So you get better advice. And it's the same with when people see you using these products and stuff. They're like, well, if he's using it, it's got to be good enough for me. So I'm just very excited. The other big point of it is as this is a business, every year. Oh, sorry, coming up to a stop sign. So every year we have sponsors that they either fall off. Hopefully none of them fall off, or in rare circumstances, but it has happened with us, that we prefer to pursue other avenues. Like maybe their product isn't working for us, or it just doesn't make sense anymore for it. For instance, in the past we've had sponsorships that were like $250 or $500 a year that they would give to us, or they would give us let's say $100 in product. Well, to a certain extent that's all fine and that helps, and as you grow and you build more exposure, either the company can't keep up with you, or you need more than means than they can offer. And what we always try and do is we always try and offer way more than what the company gives us. That's what I want when I look for in my business. Is I want the most for my money. So that's what I try and do with all my sponsorships. So anyway, sometimes that balance gets off, and sometimes things change or whatever. But with all that being said, every year, like a lot of buggies have wraps, truck and trailers have wraps, and your race suits have wraps. That carries all your sponsors. I don't get into that as much as I probably should. I try and represent. I have a very professional race suit. I make sure and advertise and tag and all that. But going forward, that's going to become more of a focus. And with that, I need a new race suit to represent those sponsors on a regular basis. So again, very excited for Velocita stepping on board with us. Very excited about that. What else?
Tell them about your race prep.
Race prep is pretty crazy for this. I don't know if it's just the videos or what, but I just have a lot of people trying to help me. Even the sponsors that are working with me seem to be going out of their way to help me and just give me what I need to be better and the best that I can be. We kind of went, well, I got a big payout. I got a real large payout from my race season so far, and I took that money and I bought a bunch of parts that are really going to help me. One is I bought a complete spare rear end And this rear end it's pretty amazing. It can be used in the front or the rear of my buggy, and it's just amazing. I have 2 of them that are in the machine right now, and neither of them have never broke. But now to have a spare, that's a really big deal. That lowers or increases the aggressiveness that I can drive and run into things hard to be fast and without worrying of breakage or being taken out from a complete race due to breakage. So it's a huge deal, especially going into a finals weekend where you're racing 4 individual races. It's a really, really big deal. Prep is huge. So that's one thing. Then RCV helped me out. I have a complete set of full axles, CVs and axles, complete spare set all the way around my buggy. That's amazing and just unheard of. So I'm really excited about that, to be able to have all that stuff. And then what else? There's more. Or Jensen Brothers flew all the way from Idaho all the way right to my place, put on a class,
Continue on 994.
rebuilt all my struts right off my machine and trained and showed us how. And I have my struts off of Woolly Bully, so I actually have 2 sets. So I have extra sets of struts with me. So that's a really big deal, and I'm really excited about. So with all this stuff, this is kind of how I like to think about it. Is I have 3 full sets of drivetrain for Fordzilla. I have 2 spare tires, spare rim and tires. I have a full set of axles, and I have a spare diff. Those are all the major components, well, other than motor and tranny, but we should be good with that. But those are all major components that I would say are the most common issues of breakage. So we have all that. That's really big and exciting for our race prep. What else?
Let's talk about how fast you're going to be going up the hills and how calm you're going to be on the first 2 hills.
Oh, I don't know about that. For as far as my pace goes, I'm kind of looking to be first place on all 4 hills. I'm not going there to take it easy and just barely get by and make it by a couple points. I'm hoping everybody else has got all their stuff tip top and are fast, and I hope I shine through as being a lot faster than everybody else. That's I guess my goal is not to I want to give it all it's got. I am not trying to be moderate. I want to go in there and I want to just right off the very first race, I want to just everything it's got. The machine, I want to push it to its limit. I have no reason not to. I feel like all these parts and all this stuff, is there to take the stress and the worry off me of driving easy and I want to kick ass. I want to do good. So my pace is 115%. That's what my pace is.
I know you wanted to watch the live last night with Bubs, but you weren't able to. You actually wanted to join it, but why weren't you able to do that?
Oh, so Jeremiah and Jim Jeremiah and Jim have just been so much help with everything. I don't know if the public knows, but Jeremiah Strauss and Jim Burmeister, they pretty much help me with everything. Anytime I'm figuring out a better way or can't figure out a better way or what, those two they know everybody and they know the solution to every problem. So those guys have been helping me like crazy on everything. They help me. Jeremiah is actually who I got all my parts through Gabe at Northern Drivetrain, He's a well-known supplier. I just met him through going back and forth. I actually had quite a few gift cards that I've won at the local races, Dresser, Wisconsin, and I never used them. They've been sitting there, and they were for Northern Drivetrain. And well, I've been buying parts through other suppliers and other companies, and they actually are buying their parts through Northern Drivetrain and shipping them to me. And all this is just coincidence. So Jeremiah says, well, why don't you call this guy? This guy's a genius. This is what he does for a living. He literally sells all these drivetrain parts. And so I call this Gabe from Northern Drivetrain, and we hit it off. Gabe's an extremely smart guy, and he just helped me tremendously. Gave me a good price on all the parts. No reason for none of this either. I mean, he just helped me. He did know who I was, which doesn't make much difference, but he knew who I was, and went out of his way to help me. So anyway, with all this, is Jeremiah's just giving us, he's helping so much. So I got all these drivetrain parts, got them to Jeremiah. Jeremiah actually hurt his back, took them to another good machinist buddy that builds drivetrains for pulling trucks. They built all this stuff, brought it back to me. Jim shows up, and we start building it, and we had a problem where these carrier bearings were breaking from massive hits. And what I wanted is I wanted a fail safe, so if the carrier bearing breaks, kind of like a drive shaft hoop, where something can hold on to it so it doesn't go crazy. But I was, in my head, I was designing the drive, an actual hoop, and Jim and Jeremiah came and, I mean, just made this amazing little strap idea that is just amazing in every way. It solves the issue multiple ways, super light. So I'm just extremely thankful for those guys and all their help and their friendship and
But
everything.
that's why you weren't able to watch live.
Yeah,
Back to the original question.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's what was going on, is all those guys were there. Literally my whole shop was full of people because we worked all day, and they got there at like 6 o'clock when I got done with work, and we're all working on putting my drive shafts together, installing them, fabricating these new setups and fail safes, getting it all together. So it is pretty amazing. And of course, Bub's thing is going on, which that's like, I'm a huge fan of that, and I wasn't able to watch it, but that's why. Or join, yeah. So.
And then let's talk about last weekend and where we were.
All that something pretty cool is one of the guys I look up to, and kind of a big icon of the sport, and what I consider my good friend now, Jake Pike. He got married last weekend, so we went down to Missouri, Annabelle, Missouri, and it was a really cool trip because we took this semi, and it was me and Joey, that's me and my wife, Jeremiah and Danielle, and Jim and Heather, and we all piled in this thing, and we drove all the way down there. We left at 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
We left at 5 in the morning on Saturday morning. Drove down there, got to the wedding, talked and had a great time there. Ate some amazing food, and it was just a great time. It's really, really humbling to go down there and hang out with the people that I used to dream about and look up to. We got to see. I got to hang out with Josh Parrish, Johnny Gibbs, and Danny Smith. I mean, it's just so cool. So cool how I think it was only like 3 years ago. 3 years ago, and and I was on the sidelines, drooling, and wanting these guys' autographs and to buy their T-shirts and stuff. So it's pretty amazing to be involved in that. Anyway, we went to that wedding. It was awesome, and just awesome. And got up in the morning, had some good laughs and stuff, and then drove back. And basically got home and just went right to work. And I mean, now it's Tuesday night, and we're leaving again. So we race this weekend. We race Thursday. So it starts at 9:45 a.m. Racing starts. It's all the side-by-side races first, and then bouncers the last class. On Thursday, I'll race one hill. Friday, 9:45 again, all side-by-side classes, and then bouncers, and I'll race one hill. And then Saturday is the last event in the finals for the season. I shouldn't say last event. It's finals for the points chase. Right now, I'm sitting in fourth, and I'm hoping to hold strong, and either who knows. I'm just hoping to do better. So I'm in fourth place right now, 2 points down from third against Cooper, and the point spread between second and first I think is pretty large. It's not. There's 200 points available. I believe there's only like 100 points spread, so it's more than it could happen. But yeah, just looking to do the best I possibly can. What else? He's actually hauling Fordzilla down for me on his toter. We have our semi on our trailer, which we're going to be using for everybody to sleep in. Jeremiah's coming down to pit with me, so he'll be helping us with everything. Jim borrowed us his side-by-side because it's small, tight, and has a big box on it, so we loaded up with tools and everything. So we're hauling that. And we got all them spare parts with, which we normally don't bring anywhere near this amount of spare parts. But being that it's 3 individual days of racing and the last day is 2 races, it's a lot of wear and tear. And if we need to fix something, we have the ability to fix it. What else, son?
I think that about wraps it up, Nick.
Okay. So that's that. You probably all know and have seen some of my posts, but something that's really big and really cool that's happening is all this rock bouncer stuff is starting to be on live TV, like Prime, Pluto, what else? Amazon, Fire Stick, Apple TV.
I mean, the list goes on.
Yeah, all of them, I think.
Yeah.
And where you find this is on Speed Sport 1. Right now, it's Speed Sport 1 is the channel, and you got to look it up. And as far as I'm aware, right now, they only have race number 1, the first race of the season of Windrock, on there. But what I'm under the understanding is that it's going to be every single race, so you can watch it as a series, and you can actually see the drivers and everything. If you're a fan, or if you're even interested in a little bit, I would highly have you look into that Speed Sport 1 and watch that first episode, because it is phenomenal. It's extremely interesting. I think it's exciting. They do a great job explaining about the sport and how it works and showcasing everybody. Little news flash for you. I did not do the greatest. I think I got 8th place in that race. But it was exciting and fun, and it's pretty cool. So anyway, we're heading up. That beeper means I just got close to the edge of the road. Anyway, we're heading to Wildcat, Kentucky right now for finals, race number 10. Hoping to win some big money and win some races and
bring some hardware home.
Yeah. So I will have one more video I'll put up here when we get all set up at the race. This race is a little different, just for the simple fact we're going to be setting up almost like a garage on the side of our trailer to work on our stuff and have ready, and we're going to be there. So I'll do a video of that and kind of show you our setup and everything. And yeah, if you want to watch the races, go to YouTube, Rock Racing TV, and look up the live feeds. Start at 9:45 every day. Remember, the side-by-sides go first, then the bouncers. So be rooting for Nick Reich and Fordzilla.